When the song come on, let me see you get gone. Baby mamas, this your song. Been pregnant for way too long. Now tell the DJ turn it off.
On November 2, 2025, Roseberline Philippe, a 32-year-old woman, was found deceased in room 230 of a Days Inn motel in Elmsford, Westchester County, New York. Surveillance footage later confirmed that her former boyfriend, Justin Bartley, and the couple's 2-year-old son were inside the room with her earlier that morning. Within hours of the time investigators believe Roseberline Philippe died, Bartley was observed leaving the motel with the child. He did not report an emergency and did not notify motel staff. Law enforcement quickly identified Bartley as a person of interest, noting that he had prior criminal convictions and was on probation at the time. The Elmsford Police Department, Westchester County Police, and federal authorities coordinated efforts to locate him. Bartley and a child were later found in the Bronx, where he was taken into custody, and the child was recovered safely. Bartley was charged with second-degree murder and endangering the welfare of a child and entered a not guilty plea.
Not guilty in the murder of his ex-girlfriend. Her body was found last month at an Elmsford motel. News 12's Lauren Del Val was at Westchester County Court for the hearing.
Family and friends of 32-year-old Rose Philippe packed the courtroom. Bartley appeared before County Court Judge Maurice Williams. Bartley is accused of murdering Philippe, his ex-girlfriend, in the presence of their 2-year-old son at the Elmsford Days Inn. He was indicted on second-degree murder and endangering the welfare of a child. During a brief court appearance, the attorney for 32-year-old Bartley pled not guilty on his behalf. Philippe's family was also issued temporary orders of protection. Rose's father Benoit and brother Benel spoke with me afterwards off camera. They both say Bartley had shown aggressive tendencies previously and just want justice for the, quote, senseless killing. Rose was the third eldest daughter in her family, and her father referred to her as a sweet princess who never had problems with anyone. Philippe's family is taking care of the 2-year-old child. In White Plains, Westchester County, Lauren Del Val, News 12.
The Westchester County District Attorney's Office scheduled a future court date as the investigation continued, raising questions about prior warnings, supervision, and the circumstances that brought Roseberline Philippe and her former partner together that morning. Every case starts with evidence and ends with truth. We examined facts, not theories, details, not drama. This is Sunday Crime, where investigations speak for themselves. Subscribe now and stay updated as we uncover the facts behind every case. Roseberline Philippe was born on April 10, 1993. She was raised in New York and remained closely connected to her family throughout her adult life. Public records and family statements indicate she maintained consistent employment, most recently working as an office assistant at White Plains Hospital. Her work involved administrative responsibilities and regular interaction with patients and staff. Roseberline was the mother of a 2-year-old son at the time of her death. Family members described her daily life as centered on childcare, employment, and family obligations. She lived within the Westchester County area, close to relatives who assisted with childcare and transportation. There is no indication of substance abuse, criminal history, or ongoing legal disputes involving her. By 2023, Roseberline was no longer romantically involved with the father of her child, Justin Bartley. Despite the end of their relationship, communication between them continued due to shared parental responsibilities. No formal custody agreement was publicly documented, and interactions appeared to be handled informally. Justin Bartley was the father of Roseberline Philippe's child. Court records indicate that Bartley had prior criminal convictions, including weapons-related offenses and driving while intoxicated. At the time of Roseberline's death, Bartley was on probation. Family members later told investigators that the relationship between Roseberline and Bartley deteriorated significantly after the birth of their son. According to these accounts, Roseberline expressed fear and concern regarding Bartley's behavior. These concerns were reportedly shared with relatives, though there is no publicly available evidence that formal complaints or protective orders were filed. On November 1st, 2025, the day before Roseberline's death, a confrontation occurred involving Bartley and members of Roseberline's family. During this interaction, Bartley was allegedly told to stay away from her. This interaction would later become a key element of the investigation as it established heightened tension shortly before the homicide. Despite this warning, Roseberline agreed to meet Bartley the following morning. The purpose of the meeting between Roseberline and Bartley has not been definitively established. Investigators believe it was prearranged, though no text messages or recorded calls detailing the plan have been publicly released. On November 2nd, 2025, the morning of Roseberline's death, Roseberline traveled to the Days Inn Motel located in Elmsford, Westchester County, New York. Surveillance footage shows her arriving with Bartley and their 2-year-old son at approximately 8:30 a.m. The trio entered the motel together and checked into a room on the second floor. There were no reported disturbances at the front desk. Staff members did not observe visible signs of conflict at check-in. The room would later become the site of a homicide. Investigators reconstructed the events inside the motel room using surveillance footage, phone location data, and forensic evidence collected at the scene. According to the prosecution, Roseberline remained inside the room after check-in. Surveillance footage does not show her leaving the room at any point. Bartley, however, was captured on camera exiting and re-entering the room multiple times throughout the day. There were no recorded calls to emergencies from the room. No motel staff were alerted to any noise complaints or disturbances during the morning or early afternoon hours. The couple's 2-year-old child was inside the room for a portion of this time. In the afternoon, motel staff entered the room during routine operations. Inside, they found Roseberline unresponsive. Emergency services were immediately contacted. Responding police officers arrived at the scene and pronounced Roseberline dead. The room was secured, and investigators initiated a homicide investigation. The Westchester County medical examiner later determined that Roseberline's death was caused by blunt force trauma. The manner of death was ruled a homicide. Prosecutors stated that the injuries were consistent with a prolonged physical assault. Surveillance footage confirmed that Justin Bartley was the last known person seen with Roseberline. Additional footage showed him leaving the motel with the couple's toddler later that day.
Bartley did not notify motel staff or emergency services before leaving the property. He did not check out of the room. Based on these findings, law enforcement issued an alert for Bartley and the missing child. Due to Bartley's probation status and prior criminal record, authorities considered the situation urgent. Local police coordinated with state and federal agencies to locate Bartley. Investigators used phone location data to track his movements after leaving the motel. Bartley was later located in the Bronx. He was taken into custody without incident. The child was recovered safely and turned over to family members. Following his arrest, Bartley was transported back to Westchester County to face charges. Prosecutors charged Justin Bartley with second-degree murder. He was also charged with endangering the welfare of a child based on the allegation that the homicide occurred in the presence of his 2-year-old son. At arraignment, Bartley pleaded not guilty to all charges. Due to the severity of the allegations and his criminal history, the court ordered that he be held without bail. During early hearings, prosecutors emphasized Bartley's probation status at the time of the homicide. They argued that his prior convictions and history of violence were relevant to risk assessment. Defense attorneys challenged elements of the prosecution's timeline and requested additional forensic analysis. They argued that the case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence and required further examination. The court scheduled future hearings, including a date in March 2026. As of the latest available information, the case remains pending. Investigators identified several key pieces of evidence: surveillance footage from inside and outside the motel, autopsy findings confirming cause of death, phone location data placing Bartley at the scene, witness statements from motel employees. Bartley's probation and criminal history records. Prosecutors indicated that the presence of the child during the incident would be a central element of the trial. The 2-year-old child was not physically injured during the incident. After Bartley's arrest, the child was placed with relatives. Child Protective Services became involved immediately. While the child is too young to provide testimony, investigators consider his presence significant in establishing the circumstances surrounding the crime. Following Roseberline Philippe's death, her family organized funeral arrangements and initiated fundraising efforts to support her child. Community members attended vigils and memorial services. Public statements from prosecutors and police emphasized the seriousness of the charges and the ongoing legal process. The case fits a broader pattern observed in domestic-related homicides involving former partners. Experts note that shared children often create continued contact even after relationships end, increasing risk when prior conflicts exist. The case also raises questions about probation supervision and whether warning signs were adequately addressed. Several questions remain unresolved. Why Roseberline agreed to meet Bartley despite recent confrontations, whether any prior incidents were reported to law enforcement, what preventive measures, if any, were available, how probation oversight factored into the timeline. These questions may be addressed during trial proceedings. As of now, Justin Bartley remains in custody awaiting trial. Prosecutors continue to prepare their case while the defense maintains his plea of not guilty. The legal process will determine the outcome, accountability, and sentencing. The death of Roseberline Philippe resulted from a series of documented events occurring over a single day. A meeting between former partners at a motel ended in a homicide investigation, criminal charges, and ongoing court proceedings. What is established through evidence is a clear timeline. Roseberline Philippe entered a motel room alive on November 2, 2025. Hours later, she was found dead. The person last seen with her was arrested and charged. The case now rests in the judicial system. Facts verified. Case concluded. Justice is found in what remains proven. This is Sunday Crime. Until the next investigation. Subscribe for more verified stories and real criminal investigations.